Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at silver. It is time for another update, and no, this is not a mistake that we have started this video on the gold chart, because in the previous video we highlighted how closely correlated these charts are expected to be, and as gold had a significantly more clear picture, we had used its roadmap to identify a reversal on the silver chart, right? On the gold chart, we had managed to build an initial 5-wave move to the upside, which was suggesting that after a 3-wave correction, which by the way followed perfectly our expectations, but after this 3-wave correction into the support zone, we would expect the reversal to significantly higher prices. As we had identified the likelihood that gold could have formed a bottom within this structure, we had a lot more confidence on the silver chart as well, as these metals are quite closely correlated. And not only that, but today I have identified even a confirmation on the gold chart by forming this initial 5-wave move to the upside. This means that after a 3-wave correction into the support zone, we would expect continuation within at least another 5-wave move to the upside. And you may be wondering what this has to do with silver. What does this mean? Why are we looking at gold? Well, it is because this is suggesting to me that silver will likely continue in its path to higher prices, even though it might need a larger correction, even though this wave 2 on the gold chart might not actually have a bottom in yet. We would expect to form the reversal from this yellow support zone and continue this overall uptrend. And from the lows that were formed within this area, on the gold chart, we rather see modesty in the move to the upside, but on the silver chart, we will see now as we move there, a significantly stronger push, and again, based on the gold chart, we can have a preference even for this to continue on the silver chart. Now, one more thing before we move over. On this chart, I am able to track a series of 1-2 setups. This structure could have just formed a wave 3 in this movement to the upside, and this would be a wave 4. And we would start to head to somewhat of a completion as we extend a bit higher within this movement to the upside. But it is not necessary, and I want to emphasize this because in very bullish structures, yes, we form such series of 1-2 setups and such shallow corrections that they may even look like only a wave 4, but instead then start a very, very strong movement to the upside within a wave 3. And I'm not guaranteeing this will happen. It really might be that we form a reset within this wave 2, but I wouldn't be expecting this overall movement to the upside to have come to an end just yet, because the first 3 waves within any structure are the likely portion. If we haven't completed this as a larger wave 2, it is possible to form a reset within this larger wave 2, yeah? But even then, I would expect a 3-wave move to the upside. It is possible that this movement to the upside wasn't a wave 1 that would even take us to new all-time highs, but even then, I would expect a 3-wave pattern within an ABC structure. So the overall theme continues to suggest that this chart is going to extend to higher prices. And these don't always work out, but this to me is the highest probability outcome based on the framework we are tracking. Now, let's get to the silver chart. And here, I am still tracking the same path forward. I am still looking for a larger ABC structure to complete this wave 5 of a larger wave C of a larger wave 3. It's not the only possible path forward, but this is what I'm currently focusing on, and until we get further evidence of what we are really building within this movement to the upside, we don't even know what type of wave A we are forming in white. So we go in a smaller time frame where, yes, we still have these orange and green options, where in orange we expect to build a 5-wave pattern here, right? This could be working out as something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And then in green, we expect a 3-wave pattern instead, because this would need to be as a larger leading diagonal, because on the silver chart, we have failed to form the 5-wave pattern we have tracked on the gold chart. We might be able to get around tracking it, I just don't trust it. Right? I don't find it nearly as likely. Now, regardless of the path forward, we can track internal levels of support within the very small time frame on this chart, which may be able to help us while we get more information. Now, for context, we have had this support zone in yellow, same as on the gold chart, to identify the reversal to higher prices. We have had these levels of resistance in blue to determine when a successful breakout would be more likely. We broke above the 78.6% retracement. It wasn't a very clean one. And eventually, yes, we have taken the previous highs, and the movement, even though it's not as clearly bullish as on the gold chart, has had significantly more strength and has had significantly more volatility. We don't need this blue scenario anymore because it had failed, and I am looking in the smaller time frame, where unfortunately we still have a rather difficult pattern to follow, which is why I started with the gold chart coverage, where we have a more clear expectation of overall continuation to higher prices. Now, to be clear, what I'm tracking here in orange internally, there is no guarantee this will be a wave 3, but what I'm focusing on at the moment is for this to potentially be building a diagonal structure, because within the wave 1 we only had 3 waves up, and I can quite clearly even track this overall correction as a triangle. So my primary expectation would have to account for a possible wave B bottom here, and a wave C that could form a top rather soon. So within at least one of my interpretations, I have to account for the possibility that a wave 3 top might be coming sooner than we may typically expect, as I would have a wave A top here. This would be my B wave within a triangle, and then a wave C could form a top sooner than one would typically expect if we weren't to track a triangle here. So within this interpretation, I would have to count this as an A, B, C, D, E. And even within the idea of a triangle, I probably still prefer one slightly larger correction within a wave 4 and then a wave 5 to complete this as an overall impulse. And this would have to come after we form a more substantial top internally. Once more, I would expect a slightly larger correction within this as a wave 4, and within this pattern, we could define an area of support, actually quite similar with what we have on the gold chart for today, at the levels between the 23.6% retracement down to the 50% retracement. But I will mention that as this wave 3 extends higher and higher, which seems likely at this point, this support zone would have to come along with it. Until I actually have a correction that is proportional in a wave 4 with what we have in this as a wave 2, I would have to typically assume that this would be a wave 3 extension, where if we are to consider this to have been an internal wave 4 correction, I would have to look still for something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 within a wave 5 of this wave 3. And once we have a top here, a more substantial top within the wave 3 might be in place. But if it doesn't succeed in forming it and continues still to higher prices, I would have to continue to look for extensions within this as a wave 3, because once more, within this larger wave 4, I expect a slightly larger correction than what we have already done in this movement to the downside. And in fact, even once we would, let's say, complete here a wave 4 and a wave 5, I could still see a larger wave 4 and a larger wave 5 that would still be part of this wave 3 to the upside, because in the limited data we have within this time frame, the 15-minute time frame is not going to provide the most useful data. We might have this as something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and then this might be another 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. This would complete one more high after this internal structure is complete, and even then we might have another 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So to be clear, I am looking for one more high, ideally within this movement to the upside. I'm looking for a wave 4 correction. I'm looking for one more high within a larger wave 3, then another wave 4 correction, and another high within a larger wave 3, and only then I would find it ideal for this wave 3 to have formed a more substantial top, at which point I can expect one more larger wave 4 correction and one more wave 5 that would complete this as a larger wave C. And this is my ideal path forward for the silver chart. As for the minimum, I would typically expect for this wave 3 to form a top and one more larger wave 4 and a wave 5. If we already form the larger wave 4, I cannot deny the possibility that we would form a top within one more high, but personally I would still have a strong preference that we would get one larger wave 4 correction and then one more wave 5 before considering at least this wave C complete. This would be, let's say, the likely minimum for me, but ideally even this wave 3 could extend for a while longer. If we want, we can even provide a tiny area of support internally within this structure, and now that we go into the 5-minute time frame, we might even lean into believing that, hey, this structure might have formed the wave 3 top here, this could have been the wave 4 bottom and the wave 5. Sure, perfectly possible, but just as well, to be honest, I could see one more high even within this structure, and if we do not break here the 50% retracement at $86.15, I can see one more high within this movement to the upside even, and I know that by the time I actually upload this video, this might have already taken off or failed, quite likely even, but I hope this helped in getting a better idea for the current roadmap I am tracking for the silver chart. Now, one more thing to be clear, this pattern is quite complex. Many paths it could actually take before we would see more clarity on this chart, which is why once again, I am focusing on the gold chart. Now, one more thing before we end the video, my power just got cut off for a moment there. The ideal target for a wave C is the 100% extension of the wave A. This means we are looking for it to be at $91.57, around that area. But before it actually reaches those levels, I would be watching out for structural resistance that we have here at around $90. We have formed previously a quite significant top in this movement to the upside. It wouldn't be unheard of to actually get rejected at these levels, and starting, let's say, the larger wave 4 correction, we would have part of this larger wave C. Something to keep in mind there, perhaps we top within this region, we form the wave 4 correction, and within the wave C, we top at the even higher high around $95, $96. And for now, we will stop here. These are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.